One of the trademarks of Soviet-style tanks is their ability to jump and shoot at the same time. Many have heard of the flying tank. Just imagine 46 tons traveling at a high speed, jumping, then shooting in the air. It would undoubtedly look impressive. The designers believed that if a tank couldn't overcome an obstacle, then it would need to be jumped over. Can tanks from other countries perform jumps? And what about other armored vehicles? Today, we will show you the 10 most incredible jumps of military vehicles caught on camera. T-72. T-72 is a post-war Soviet medium and main tank. It's the most massive tank of the second generation. It has been adopted by the USSR Armed Forces since 1973. At the moment, the Russian Federation is armed with a modification of the T-72B3. It also takes part in tank biathlon competitions. It is a mechanized military sport event promoted by the Russian military with some similarities to the winter sport of biathlon. It utilizes the complex training of tank crews, including their rough terrain passing skills, combined with the ability to provide accurate and rapid fire while performing maneuvers. At these competitions, you can see how the T-72 jumps to overcome obstacles. LVT-P7. Due to the specifics of their work, some types of armed forces need special equipment that differs from other existing models. In particular, the Marines need specialized amphibious armored vehicles for landings. One of the most famous examples of such equipment currently in operation is the American LVT-P7 landing vehicle. This vehicle has been in service for over 40 years and still retains its place in the United States Marine Corps. In addition, such vehicles are actively used by some foreign armies. Of course, these vehicles can perform smooth entry into the water, but that's boring. The video captured the moment the amphibian jumped into the water from a height of more than 1.5 meters. Such capabilities of the LVT-P7 didn't leave the audience bored. Everyone filmed and admired the courage of the crew. T-80. The T-80 is a main battle tank designed and manufactured in the Soviet Union, the world's first main tank with built-in anti-tank reactive armor. It was in service with the army of the USSR, then Russia, since 1976. For quite a long time, the T-80 was much faster and more maneuverable than all of its Western competitors, at the same time being ahead of them both in striking power and in its degrees of protection. The T-80's gas turbine engine is the GTD-1250, which produces 1,250 horsepower. Maximum speed of the vehicle on-road is 70 kilometers an hour, and cross-country is 48 kilometers an hour. The T-80 tank has excellent jumping ability. Thanks to the powerful thrust of the engine, it easily flies over obstacles in its way. Abrams. The Abrams main battle tank is manufactured by General Dynamics Land Systems. The first M1 tank was produced in 1978, the M1A1 in 1985, and the M1A2 in 1986. The American tank has long been trying to keep up with the maneuverability, speed, and jumping ability of the T-80. For the first time, these two tanks, having gas turbine engines as a power source, met in February 1993 at IDEX 93 in the capital of the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. The Abrams tried to jump over the obstacle ahead of it, but fell on its side and left the race. And so, at the next demonstration event, the American main battle tank managed to surprise the assembled people. The Abrams not only jumped over the obstacle, but also fired a shot from the cannon. BT-7. The BT-7 was the last of the BT series of Soviet cavalry tanks that were produced in large numbers between 1935 and 1940. It was lightly armored, but reasonably well armed for the time, and had much better mobility than other contemporary tank designs. It was on BT that Soviet tankers began to master jumping for the first time. So it was possible to overcome small rivers and ditches. The record belongs to the tester Evgeny Kolchitsky, 42 meters of free flight. Challenger 2. Challenger 2 is the main battle tank of the British Army. Challenger 2, although rare, can also show its jumping ability. This is how, for example, in the tank competition Strong Europe Tank Challenge, crews from NATO and non-NATO partners compete in defensive, offensive, mounted, and dismounted operations. Platoons rotate through 12 events with 1,500 possible points in total. One of the main tasks was running over a standing car, and apparently the crew decided to do it more effectively, so the tank made a jump like it was on a springboard. BMP-3. The BMP-3 is a Soviet and Russian infantry fighting vehicle designed to transport personnel to the front lines, increase their mobility, armament, and security on the battlefield against the threat of nuclear weapons and joint actions with tanks in battle. The smoothness of the BMP-3 makes life easier not only for the driver mechanic, but also for the gunner operator, who doesn't need to look for a pause between jumps. He can fire almost in polygon conditions, even when driving over bumps and pits. And the BMP can jump when driving on uneven terrain. It literally hovers over bumps, and if necessary, just jumps over obstacles. Leopard 2. The Leopard 2 is a German main battle tank. At the moment, 2,516 Leopard 2 units are in use in various modifications. They are in service with many armies. This tank is another participant in the Strong Europe competition, in which Challenger 2 took part. The Leopard was faced with the same task. It was necessary to run over a standing car, and the crew handled it perfectly. On its first attempt, the tank at high speed simply demolished the body of the car, and the second time, it turned out to be a more protracted and beautiful jump. However, the exploits of the Leopard 2 don't end there. This time, it decided to repeat the success of Abrams and perform not just a springboard jump, but also a shot in the air. VT-4. The VT-4 is a Chinese export main battle tank. The tank was developed by the Chinese corporation Norinco. The new tank, with a combat weight of 51 tons, has a top speed of 75 kilometers an hour. VT-4 demonstrated its capabilities at one of the military training grounds of the Pakistani army. The tank moved at high speed on the ground, literally jumping over obstacles. It broke through a stone wall and forced a water barrier. T-90. The T-90 is a third-generation Russian main battle tank that entered service in 1993. The T-90 uses a 125mm 2A46 smoothbore main gun, the 1A45T fire control system, an upgraded engine, and gunner's thermal sight. The T-90 has a trick in its incredible cross-country ability and overcomes many types of obstacles, from frequent bumps to embankments that play the role of springboards. The result of the pursuit of perfection was the possibility of shooting even while jumping. But unlike other main battle tanks, the T-90 has this as a standard option. Before the jump, the driver turns on the obstacle avoidance system, thus reducing the tank's clearance to a minimum. A special sensor scans the ground for a bump or hole. Then the tank accelerates to a maximum speed of 60 kilometers an hour, reaches the edge of the ditch, and takes off over the ground. That's all, friends. Thanks for watching. Write in the comments which are the jumps you liked the most. Also, click the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new interesting videos.